Hello there everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Joesephyr and quite honestly I am still shaking from the community stream and the stream viewing party that I just had. Not just because of the incredible news that we've had, but the outpour of love that you guys gave me was honestly more than I could handle. And I'm now like literally just coming off of that stream to give you all of the lowdown on all of the massively exciting stuff that we have for Dissidia's 3rd anniversary. And I'm kind of quivering trying to get my words out because I'm still kind of reeling from that. So if you guys were present for that stream, then a massive thank you to all of you that came along for that because it was insane. And if you'd like to find out more about what's going to be happening for Dissidia Opera Omnia's 3rd anniversary, then of course, as always, stay tuned and keep on watching. Of course, as always, don't forget to check out all of my social media links in the description box below. As I said, with Twitch, I hosted the biggest stream I've literally ever had when it came to doing the community stream sort of live coverage, as well as doing like a little quiz that I thought I'd come up with that I thought was quite cool and people seemed to really enjoy it. But we had over 800 viewers on this channel over for a very large portion of it, which is absolute insanity. So of course I will be streaming every Dissidia event as it goes live. I will be making sure that I post up all of my sort of scheduling and everything like that. I've actually come up with new sub emotes for people to have a look at. There's lots of exciting stuff going over on Twitch, so definitely give that a follow if you get the chance. With Patreon, obviously I shout out one of my patrons every time I release a video, but this time around I'm actually going to shout out a couple because I did actually gain some while I was doing the stream, and I'm kind of not had a chance to make your title cards just yet, but I wanted to get this video out as soon as possible. So to Drifter and to Doc Shootens, I do want to just give you guys a quick shout out, but obviously I haven't made your title card just this second, but I am going to give a shout out to Boopar Wiggum, who has got a title card here. And if you guys would like to take part in the would you pull portion of the Should You Pull videos with voice chats with me every month, and also get a title card just like this, then perhaps consider becoming a patron yourself. And of course, as always, don't forget to check out all of the other resources there are out there for Opera Omnia, including all of the websites that are surrounding me, and of course all the content creators below as well. Oh my god, you guys, where do I even begin to start when it comes to these slides and everything that's going on over the course of February? So basically, I'm just going to go ahead and start where the slides themselves started. So the first thing that we got to see is some really cool quality of life upgrades that we've had, including draw-related stuff. So now there is a free daily draw on any one banner of your choice every day. So basically, that's like a free ticket once a day. So that's going to be enough to scratch that itch. And honestly, if you manage to get something off of that that's big, then honestly, that's going to be great. So extra pulls is never going to be a bad thing. The crystal inventory limit has gone from 10,000 to 100,000. So for those of you like myself that have stockpiled huge amounts of quite a lot of them and then they get stuck in your inventory or your mailbox and everything and you can't collect them, that's not going to be a problem anymore. And I'm actually very interested in this party used screen for party composition because I actually think it's going to be a massive visual aid for me as a content creator and for anyone who wants to share their party clears on Discord or Twitter or any social media. I think it's a fantastic way to do that. We're also going to be getting elite hunts after the maintenance as well, which is basically like a once a week extra hunt that you can do by exchanging Dissidia points, so it's another thing to spend your Dissidia points on. And the best thing about this is it's not a cactuar, it's different monsters, and the monster changes because it's a random elite hunt, which I think is awesome. Just to see that it's different monsters makes it so much more fresh and interesting and different. And not only that, but we're actually getting a new feature as well that's sort of brand new in the status badges. Now, status badges is just a nice little icon that you can put next to your name, your character name, stuff like that. So you can personalize it however you want. And they've already said that you will never have enough tokens to own all available badges at the same time. So seeing how people choose their badges and stuff, obviously I want to see the full range of them. They mentioned as well, and also before I forget, massive shout outs to Glacy and Josh, of course, and Fujiwara-san for answering the questions, which we'll get to a little while later. Thank you so much for such a wonderful stream. It was really, it was extraordinary, and you guys do such a great job every month. So big thank you for that. But anyway, they did also mention there was a plus icon, similar to EX plus and high armor plus, that kind of thing, to go with that. But honestly, I'm really excited to see where this goes. So of the icons you could see, what would you put me down as? It's, just a fun little thought for you. Next on the list is on Wednesday, which is January the 27th, so this Wednesday coming, or Tuesday night, depending on where you are in the world, we're going to be getting Divine Diablos. Now, Divine Diablos is going to be coming out with Ramza's Burst and his LD. Now, if you don't know how Divine Summons work, quite luckily, recently I released a video all about Divine Summons, so if you want to know exactly how that works, and all the rewards and all the amazing stuff that you can get from doing it, then you can look up that video. And as it was in JP, the featured characters on these banners are going to be Maria, Freya, Pain, Machina, Ramza, and Ida. Now, there's no free pull on this as far as we know, so honestly, we're getting so much free stuff, we've got to have some breathing room where we've got to actually spend some resources, right? But not only that, but this is going to be the first banner in which we get LD boards and LD call abilities. So basically, these are actually much more simple than they look. It's an extension of the character board system that we already have, where it adds a fourth tree to that board in order to make a stronger version of your LD. Sometimes these are actually extremely dramatic improvements, as you'll see with Machina, you'll see this with Gao later on. When Squall gets his, he becomes an absolute force to be reckoned with. But we're also going to start seeing any new characters come around with these boards, as well as their LD. And with LD call abilities, until now we've only had call abilities for a particular skill, whereas characters with their LD call available will allow you to use their LD as an additional ability as well as their regular call ability. And you'll see with various characters, and I'll be sure to cover all of the LD calls, LD boards, everything that comes along with that, on top of all of the stuff that I already do for Should You Pull videos, so don't worry about missing out on any of that. So next on the list is at the end of this month, so this time, like next week, we'll see the 3rd anniversary campaign. Now, the start of this, and this gets way more exciting later, for obvious reasons that I'm sure a lot of you already know about, but we get a daily free multi-draw on the 3rd anniversary draw, which you have to collect a ticket from your sort of daily login bonuses in order to do, but it's a multi-draw that features every EX weapon. So every EX weapon that's been out in the past, you have a chance of obtaining. There is also a bigger version of the Gigantor, which will give us extra sort of the daily exchange tokens, so we'll be able to get that. And there's free multi-draws on banners throughout February. And then as well as that, there's also another status badge with the little 3rd on it. And then there's the Chocobo panel missions, because there's always Chocobo panel missions that will feature more status badges. I'm actually quite fond of the 3 with the little crown around it. I actually quite like that one, whereas they mention quite frequently the mob with the cake, and I think people will really like that. We also get a 7-day login bonus period. And you'll notice by looking at those, there's EX and burst tokens on that, so how many of those is on there? That's definitely food for thought on there. There's some good stuff on that, so definitely keep an eye on those. And we're also going to get half SP for World of Illusion Summon Trials, which is fantastic given we're just about to get one with Diablos, so if you wait for a while, you'll be able to get that from that. And we get Cycle Crest rewards and Cactuar appearance rates doubled, which is nothing realistically new. We've had that for ages. However, something we haven't had before is, for those of you who spend money on the game, so whether it's on costumes or Kupo cards or gems or whatever you choose to spend money on, throughout the month of February, you'll get 10% extra gems on any purchases you make. And we get Kupo card, we get Kupo card Mini 2. There's also a 3rd anniversary special sale, which will have extra realization materials and stuff on it. This is obviously only going to be catering to players that do spend money on the game, but for what it's worth, it's actually quite nice stuff. And like 10% extra if you're already spending, that's never bad. There's also mention here of the Final Fantasy Portal app, which connects to all of the different mobile games. We've seen this many times before. However, if you look at the first reward there's tier 6 crystals there, and those are really handy to have. So it's definitely something to look forward to in the future. And the fact that there's question marks over the points rewards, normally it's just like a few gems or a few tickets, stuff like that. But given that it's the anniversary, maybe it could be something more. So starting next week, we're going to get Caius's Lost Chapter. Now, Caius gets a rework here that does make him stronger, but the main reason to be looking at Caius is the fact that he has an LD call ability. Now, something that's going to factor in a lot when it comes to pulling for characters now is how powerful their LD call abilities actually are. Because obviously you have to own the LD in order to be able to bring them. And Caius is one of those is a character that can inflict a bunch of debuffs just by entering the battlefield. He can he's got an instant breaker on his LD. He's got a lot of really nice stuff that make him really good. However, as a character that you bring normally, he's not quite as good as some other characters there. So So it'll be interesting to see how people choose to pull or not pull depending on what he brings. And then on February 5th, we're going to be getting Guy. Now, Guy is an Earth Enchant in Peril with a lot of defensive capabilities that a lot of people have kind of brushed under the carpet, kind of forgotten about him. But he's actually still a pretty good character, and honestly, given my recent clear of Final Fantasy II and Guy being named Dude and stuff like that, I kind of have a little bit of a thing for Guy now. He's kind of cool, so I might consider pulling for him, but I think he's going to be an easy skip for a lot of players, especially those who have Gao. But we get first three multi-draws on both of these, and Ramza's Burst is going to feature in both of those as well. And then following up from that, from February the 9th all the way up until February 26th, there will be a new Burst and LD banner featured character. And obviously those of you who've seen either my Future Pulls videos or know the JP play or anything like that, know that that character is going to be Ultimecia. And Ultimecia is has a Mid-Italian's turn deletion within her Burst kit. And her she gets some new stuff from her LD boards that make her stronger. So honestly, there's a lot of characters that come back that have had LDs but haven't had the boards that get significant upgrades because of them. And you also get Penelo, who comes along with Ultimecia, but also with Ramza and Ultimecia's banners. I'm going to point out now, and I will reiterate this when it comes to Should You Pull videos, only one of that character's banners of the two that come up will have their LD on it. The other one will feature someone else's LD. So in Ramza's case, it will be the return of Machina's LD, and in Ultimecia's case, it will be a brand new LD in Penelo. So if you don't already have some of these LDs, you're going to have to think twice about where you necessarily put your resources. Because it's not a case of, I pick my consolation prize, you're choosing between the burst featured character's LD and someone else's. And then after that, we're also on February 11th going to be getting Jack's Lost Chapter. And honestly, I'm quite excited for this because Jack's LD call is insanely powerful. It's been used massively throughout a lot of JP's clears. It's used for its instant break, its ability to increase the amount of bravery damage that's dealt to them or to the enemies because he inflicts a new debuff on them. There's a lot to like about Jack, with his LD, and obviously all of these will feature Ultimecia as well. So come February 19th, we're going to see the last Dimensions End Entropy tier, which is tier 20. So in order to keep your diamond plate, you need to keep up with that and have all 20 cleared. And honestly, Dimensions End 20 has a lot of really good clears out there, all over the internet. If you type in FEOD 20, you'll see plenty of clears up against Black and Will. There's some really cool stuff that you can see from that. A lot of people use Lightning for this. A lot of people use Warrior of Light for this for early defense. There's some really good stuff available for you in terms of resource if you want to watch that. But of course, if you want me to, I haven't been clearing, covering Dimensions End because it's obviously been relatively easy compared to a lot of content we've had otherwise. But let me know in the comments if you want me to start covering that again. But alongside that, we're going to be getting Dimensions End Total Entropy, which is a limited time event that goes with it that's going to give a large number of resources for those who clear everything in time, as well as having a new banner. Now, it doesn't say who the banner belongs to here, but if we're following JP's side, it's going to feature Kryl. Now, Kryl's LD is actually nothing to sniff at. It's actually really good. It has paralysis in it. It allows her to really support the team with a lot more strength. She keeps up with damage. She's actually a real force to be reckoned with after this point. And we were told as well during the stream that there was a bug when this came out in JP that allowed people to claim extra gems. Like when we got that reward the first time round, after clearing, I think it was up to Dimensions End 14 or between 14 and 16. I can't remember which one it was exactly. But we got a big bonus of rewards then. And they brought that back for this, I believe, in JP. And basically some people were able to claim that twice. But basically what they've done here is in order to compensate for that, instead of doing that for us, because obviously it's a bug and you don't want it, they've made it so that by clearing tier 18, there is an additional reward on that. And it's tier 15, and I've just realised that because it says it on the damn slide and I haven't read it. Never mind. You can all laugh at me in the comments below just for messing that bit up. But there's a lot of resources to gain from this. So the next thing that we're going to see is on February 22nd, where we're going to see Act 3 Interlude Short Stories. Now, this is actually a really sweet little piece of content that allows you to kind of see what happens between Acts 2 and 3, and obviously just short stories, but I had a really strange kind of request from a lot of people during the stream that people wanted me to do some sort of story time with this so that I voice acted various characters. I mean, you can let me know in the comments below if there's something that you guys would like to see as well. But any additional content is all good stuff for me. There's nothing that really comes with this, it's just nice stuff to begin with. Then we go on to the Q&A, and there were a lot of questions asked, and there were a lot of questions covered by Fujiwara-san, which was very kind of them to obviously give their answers to. And I will quickly go through what the questions and answers were so that we don't spend too much time on this. But, the first question was asking whether it was, we were able to have more detail to buff icons to make it easier to distinguish between them, because sometimes it can be quite difficult to distinguish them. And some people have said that it would take a lot of time to redesign them, but they are going to start redesigning them so that they're easier to look at. Then the second question was, as more and more LD weapons and reworks are coming out, a number of characters' EX abilities are becoming lackluster or their worst abilities. Cloud. Are there any plans to further upgrade EX abilities? So they've said, yes, they are planning on strengthening EX abilities. This should be interesting. I'm curious as to how JP's sort of anniversary comes, because I'd like to see what comes out of this. So, however, because this method might be tied to in-game content, it will be implemented to the JP version first. So please understand that it will take longer to reach global version, which makes perfect sense. Any possible update on Abyss? I'm going to gloss over this because this question gets answered within the stream itself and within what you're about to watch in the videos. But yes, there is more Abyss coming. Then we were asked whether there is a quality of life to refresh or reload the friend support page, and this is something that I, as a content creator, struggle with quite a lot. But it says here that currently the cooldown before using the same support is 6 hours. However, that balance was for the initially released content of OO, and it has changed significantly since then. But they want to try and reduce the cooldown first. But honestly, I'm hoping that some sort of implementation to make it easier to connect with people comes out along in the future. Because often when I'm streaming it, or when I'm just playing with friends or anything like that, I do sometimes struggle to kind of invite 2 people at once, where one's on one page, one's on another, and then I have to invite them individually, and it can be a real pain in the backside. So hopefully they fix that. Are there any plans to improve co-ops? Now, this is a question that I would have wanted an answer for, because I think that co-ops can get a little tedious sometimes, because it is just 3 people taking the same characters, mashing the same button. If you've got the feature characters LD, you just press that over and again, and that's it, and it just becomes a little tedious. So I would love to see more Chaos co-ops. And they've said that they're looking at reducing the turn length to stop people who are AFK or anything like that, and they are looking at more one-shot implementations of Chaos co-ops to see if they work. Then they asked about quality of life change for purchasing armor tokens, because there have been numerous times where people have bought too many of them, or it's just a little bit of a pain to just keep clicking the same thing over again, and they are looking into doing that as well. And then the last question that they asked was whether they were planning to add remaining turn counts for buffs and debuffs on the status screen for when you long click on an ally or an enemy to see how long they last, because sometimes the numbers and stuff overlap in the UI. There have been loads of times where I can't see statuses behind an HP bar and all sorts of stuff like that, and it gets really irritating. And they've said that they recognise that the durations of those can be difficult and it can be a real pain. But that means that they're looking at this stuff, and it's great that they actually took the time to even answer these questions. So a massive thank you to Fujiwara-san for even answering these questions. And now, finally, le pièce de résistance, the global first character. And I could not be happier. It's Balthier. In my video, I didn't think for a minute that I would actually get something even close to correct on that. But I was close with one of my most requested characters, and it's Balthier, and I'm so happy about it. And that costume is everything. I'm so excited for Balthier. You've no idea. But Balthier is the global first LD and global first costume, and he's going to be arriving on January 31st. So not long to wait at all for that. But looking at Balthier's LD, the first thing I see is I'm like, this looks insane. It looks like it does a lot. This is a loaded LD. Now, I don't know, this is all first impressions. Obviously, I was on stream trying to entertain a bunch of people and then came straight on here, so I haven't had a massive amount of chance to look at where I could apply this, where I could put it, anything like that. But honestly, I'm pretty excited by this. So basically you get a new special effect called Skyplying Strahl, so he's bringing the Strahl into play, and it gives you a sort of stacking buff that increases his attack, his max bravery, his bravery damage, and his HP damage, all by pretty significant numbers, and then gives it to the party. Which seems pretty disgusting, if you ask me. This is like Lightning's lightning levels of power granted to your whole party by a character that's not using a burst. That's very exciting stuff. And Balthier was never a terrible character. Like, his damage was a little bit lackluster. I mean, that's kind of fixed now. He's now got 2 sources of 100% AoE damage from both his EX, which is fast charging, and his LD. His LD also... Izuna cleanses the entire party, steals 3 buffs from each enemy, and extends those buffs by a turn. Mechanically, Balthier is really strong anyway, just by the stealing buffs mechanic. It's very exciting stuff. You get 8 turns, there's only 3 uses of this, sadly. And I'd like to note that Balthier does not have LD boards or an LD call, so that may put you off of him just as a point. He does get a 3-hit Brave HP attack from HP++ that increases his Way of the Sky Pirate buff that he already has, but he's basically just keeping up with it. And his Bravery attack now often steals random buffs from the target, which is kind of nice. And along with that, we're going to be getting a Abyss co-op event as well as that, so we're getting Abyss come along with FF12 theming, which is really cool. And honestly, I love Abyss theme content because it's actually challenging and it forces you to use a bunch of different characters that you wouldn't normally use. I love Abyss content. Sound off in the comments below if you think it's really good or you don't enjoy it too much. And he's part of Ramza's burst gear. So when I said with Dark Knight Cecil be careful about pulling for the global first in case it's paired up with Firion, now you can go back and try for Dark Knight Cecil if you really want Firion, because he's going to be featured with Ramza. So I'm really pleased to see it, and there's a global first multi-draw. I'm tripping over my words because I'm honestly so excited for all the stuff that's coming, and I hope you guys are too. And then the last thing that they teased a little bit, probably a bit too heavily. They may have wanted to have led with this rather than Balthier, but we're getting weapon glosses early, which is kind of cool. And I mean, this one is for guns, and it's a golden cactuar gun. It's a little weird, but like having looked at some of it, it looked like it changed like the colors of some of the characters' attacks. That could have just been me, but I'm pretty sure I saw Keita's EX go off and the ice was red rather than blue, which I found very interesting. And it's a purchasable thing, so obviously it's going to be something that only players who are willing to spend money will get. But the fact that we're even getting this mechanic early means that there's more chance of us getting extra ones as time goes on, and that's an exciting prospect in and of itself. I'm not the biggest fan of the golden cact gun itself. I think it would be cool to have just as an extra cool thing, and obviously you get 10% extra gems while you're purchasing this because of the buyback campaign. But I think they should have led with this before Balthier. So that's going to be everything that I have to show you for Dissidia Opera Omnia's 3rd anniversary, and there is a lot to go through. Like, we've got Balthier coming next week, we've got Ramza and the Diablos, we've got extra gems coming out of our backsides because of Diablos and Entropy, like Total Entropy. There's loads of gifts for if you're somebody that's happy to spend money on the game. There's loads of extra stuff for those people. There's lots of good content. There's more Abyss. I love Abyss, like I've said before. There's a lot to be excited for, and honestly, the stream, I cannot thank you guys enough for the love and support that you've shown me recently. It's immeasurable how much it means to me, and I hope that I can get this video out as soon as I can so that you guys have something to watch if you weren't present for the stream or anything like that. But a huge thank you goes out to every single one of you that's been viewing anything or just been a part of this weird journey of content creation. So thank you all very much for doing so. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and sound off in the comments and let me know what you think of everything is going on with Global First. Are you going to pull for Balthier? Are you maybe going to skip him? Are you not so impressed with him? Let me know what you guys think. Anyways, that's going to be it from me. Thank you all very much once again, and I'll see you guys soon. Take care.